Good morning.
Good morning. Come on, y'all. It's okay. I know you're eating, but come on.
I am Candace Wheeler, the Communications Manager at Westside Future Fund. I'm also a proud Spelman alumna. We are broadcasting live from the gathering spot this morning. Good morning to all of those who are joining us on YouTube and Facebook. And we want to say a special congratulations to our President and CEO, John Almond. He could not be with us this morning because he's attending his daughter's graduation from Georgetown Law. So Congrats to them.
Yes, and thank you, Candace. I am Ebony Ford. Good morning to y'all. Good morning. Appreciate seeing all y'all here. I am a very proud English Avenue resident. I am a proud Hollis Innovation Academy parent, and I am a director at Quest CDC, all here on the West Side, Best Side. Yes. Candace.
So a quick overview of this morning. We're going to begin next with a devotion from TJ Austin, Chairman of the Board of Grove Park Foundation. Then we're going to move into our self-introductions and get to know all of you in the audience. And this morning's discussion is going to focus on how affordable and market rate housing cultivates community vitality. And then we will have a Q&A from the audience, and then we'll have our drawings at the end. So
Absolutely.
Make sure you got your raffle ticket.
Absolutely. So as Candace saying, we're going to have a drawing for a Home Depot gift card and also a Goodwill of North Georgia gift card. Make sure you pick up your red and your blue ticket from the back, and there have been people who have won both gift cards. So make sure you get both your tickets, all right? And I'm personally looking very much forward to this conversation. Again, being on the West Side, based on the West Side, living, playing, working, all West Side, about how important it is for mixed-use housing in fostering inclusive communities. So hopefully we can get some actionable items on the table today for us to further this conversation and get the good work done.
If you have not already, there's a QR code up on our screen. We have a monthly impact newsletter where we share about the work of Westside Future Fund, but also our community partners and other things that are happening on the West Side. So please subscribe to stay updated and informed.
Absolutely. And we also invite you guys to get connected, okay? If you're watching from home on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We invite you to connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I also think LinkedIn. I think we have a page on LinkedIn as well. Please engage with us. We need to get this information out, and we need your help to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yep, Home Depot, Goodwill, North Georgia. All right, Candace, I think we're moving into the devotion.
All right, so it has become a tradition here for us at the Transform Westside Summit to begin our gatherings with a positive and inspirational message from a member of our community. And so recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the revitalization efforts on the West Side, we like to take time at the beginning for someone to share their inspirational reflections. And while speakers may speak from different faith practices, it is meant to be inclusive of everyone, and we like to ground our devotion in the story of Nehemiah. So now I would like to welcome TJ Austin, today's devotion speaker. He serves as the Regional Loss Prevention for Public Supermarkets for the Atlanta Division, overseeing retail support operations in over 260 stores. He also serves as chairman of the Grove Park Foundation, and he serves on the board of Invest Atlanta, Perry Bolton TAD, and the Greenlight Fund Atlanta. He was recently selected for Leadership Atlanta's class of 2025. And across everything that he does, he promotes community empowerment and social equity. A very busy man. So, Mr. Austin, if we could get you on stage for today's devotion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Real quick, when I was asked to do the invocation, I looked like, what? I said, I might not be the guy for you. But then it quickly hit me that they said do something spiritual or something that is motivational. I said, well, my position has always been you are the church based off the work that you do. So again, good morning. As a resident of the West Side, Grove Park specifically, I've witnessed the passion and dedication that fuels our community, some heated and some not so heated. Having the opportunity to collaborate for the West Side Summit is a very fabric of why many of my fellow neighbors choose to live in a community that mirrors our own communal spirit. Much like the cartoon, now movies, Transformers, very skilled Autobots would occasionally combine forces to create one extremely powerful force, Optimus Maximus, collectively blocking and tackling whatever challenges that we're facing at the time. Now, I'm assuming that most of you guys either watch Transformers or watch the movies, when they join forces to become one big, just go with me, come with me. As chair of the Grove Park Foundation, we're dedicated to building sustainable, vibrant communities where every family has access to quality education, affordable housing, economic development, and wellness. Our approach, fueled by the support of private and public partners, helps us ensure that what we do today would not only benefit our current residents, but also generations to come. The Westside Future Fund, too, plays a crucial role in amplifying this vision of partnership, uniting diverse groups, residents, leaders, and innovators, all working together to push forward various revitalization efforts across Vine City, English Avenue, Ashview Heights, the AUC, and the Just Us neighborhoods. Together, we're both transforming challenges into opportunities, ensuring that our neighbors do more than recover, they all thrive. So let's take this inspiration from the unity and the shared goals that bring us together this morning. Let's continue to work hand in hand with hope in our hearts as we revitalize not just the buildings and streets, but to build a legacy of togetherness, community, and purpose for the entire West Side. Let's all be Optimus Maximus, or in this case, West Side Maximus. Thank you for your commitment, your energy, and for believing in this opportunity. Let's keep pushing forward together. Thank you.
Mike, I'm supposed to be using, I guess, this one. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I appreciate you. So I'm old enough to have seen Transformers, the actual cartoon that came out. So me and my brother would fight every day whether we're going to watch Flintstones or Transformers. So yes, appreciate you. Thank you so much. So now is the time for you guys to take the mic and introduce yourselves. Okay, this is the really fun part. We ask just to keep us on time. Please say your name and your organization, and that's it. This ain't time for your elevator pitch, okay? As Candace said, just what would be on your name tag, okay? If you hear about anybody that you want to connect with later on, just kind of make your way to them at the end, okay? And we will start right here.
Good morning, I'm Gavin McGuire, and I have the honor of leading the Grove Park Foundation.
TJ Austin, Westside Maximus.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Larry Stewart, Grove Park resident and board chair at Atlanta Housing.
Good morning. Robb Jones with Cityscape Housing in Atlanta, Georgia.
Good morning. I'm Carmen Chubb with Columbia Residential.
Hi, good morning. I'm Neil Shorthouse with Partners in Change, providing hope and opportunity through coaching for adults.
And I'm Kathleen Bryant with Partners in Change.
Good morning. I'm Peyton Prokes with Gwinnett County Government.
Daryl LaSure. Good morning. Greg Clay with the City of Atlanta Mayor's Office.
Daryl LaSure, you didn't say your organization.
I got too many.
Harlequin Murray, David Allen Capital Agency.
Good morning, Bob Dickinson, the Executive Director of STEAM Sports Foundation.
Craig Summers, Bridging the Gap, Racial Reconciliation Ministries.
Good morning, everyone. Justine Veal, Grove Park resident.
Irvin Shade, Vice President Operations for J.R. Lynch Real Estate Partners out of the D.C. metro area.
Letitia Campbell, Candler School of Theology at Emory University.
I'm here with the Grove Park Groove. On the board, Laura Heary.
Leonard Murray, Grove Park Foundation.
Tim Brown, President of the Historic Hunter Hills Neighborhood Association.
I'm Jeff Henderson here with Chick-fil-A Maximus.
I'm Anna Shrews. I'm also here with Chick-fil-A.
Marvin Bussey, Teens at Work. Good morning.
Good morning, Martin Russell, Lead Estimator with Zen Drive Restoration.
Good day, everyone. Toyasha Albert with Self Do You Believe Education Empowerment Program for Girls.
Good morning, Trevor Gunter, English Avenue resident and various organizations.
I'm gonna give you a minute. And you as well. Okay. Don't want to interrupt anybody eating.
Good morning. I'm Archie Emerson. I am the president for the Empire Board of Realtors, and I am the broker owner dedicated Realtor Incorporated and the agent that helped move the property at Westside Future Fund.
You ready?
Robert Young, Atlanta native.
I'm Kiana Collins with House Tours of Atlanta, and we're a relocation service.
Good morning, Chris Miller, where we teach life lessons through sports with a group called Be Compelled.
Good morning, T. Dallas Smith. I am the chair of the Westside Future Fund and born and raised in Hunter Hill.
Good morning. My name is Assad, and I'm with Charlotte Studios.
Hi, I'm Susan Rutherford, City of Atlanta Mayor's Office.
Good morning. I'm Claude Gallen with Scouting of America.
Good morning. Glenn Deese, this is my wife, Sadam. We're new residents, just trying to get our feet wet.
And these new friends are first-time visitors here at the Westside Summit, so we're glad to have them here with us. My new friend, he and I have the same haircut up here. So, I'm Dan Cathy, where we're recognizing Chick-fil-A Founders Day today, so I'm dressed appropriately.
Greetings, everyone. Sandy Rogers with the Atlanta Healers Network.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Bush, and I'm a legacy resident of the Booker T. Washington neighborhood, which is ensconced in Ashview Heights. We were there before them.
Good morning. I'm Leila Gill with the Empire Board of Realtors and NID Housing Counseling, Emerson.
Good morning, Tommy Lester, Capital Impact Partners and Momentous Capital.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ebony Charlie. I'm the owner of Trinity Financial Management Solutions, and I am claiming that I am a future resident of the West Side.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shalita Compton from Urban Utopia Development Partners. Happy to be here.
Good morning. My name is Malcolm Williams. I'm a representative for Clover Real Estate Developers on the West Side.
Good morning. Nikki Wimby, resident.
Good morning. Tony Wimby, board member of the Nehemiah Project Community Development Corporation.
Good morning. Terry Nichelle Bradley, founder, CEO, Brown Toy Box.
Good morning. My name is Octavia Samuels with Status Play Space.
Good morning. I'm Ken Stockdale with the Georgia World Congress Center Authority.
Morning. I'm Mandy Eatson with Self-Help Credit Union. We're hiring in the West End.
Good morning. Eamon Martin with Penrose LLC. We're partnered with Atlanta Housing on Herndon Square redevelopment.
Y'all turn. Can y'all do this for me? Back and forth? Okay. Appreciate y'all.
Good morning. I'm Dana Brown with Families First.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Paula Moody with Families First.
Hey, everybody. Amanda Ryan with the Atlanta Land Trust.
Sean with the Home Depot backyard at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, proud English Avenue resident, and also the Atlanta Roller Derby.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Herman Howard with Tate Hansen, Architects and Planners.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ada, and this is Angel, and I'm running to be the Democratic nominee for House District 56.
Good morning, everyone. Brandon Sherwood. I'm a Cary Park resident.
Good morning, everyone. Janita Green with Kaiser Permanente, also owner of Greener Solutions, Accounting and Tax Services.
I'm also the Treasurer and Finance Chair for the Grove Park Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Leonard, Grove Park Foundation board member and business owner in Grove Park.
Good morning, Susan Evans, Atlanta Housing.
Good morning, Delilah Wynn Brown, Russell New Urban Development.
Good morning, Carrie Sosa, YWCA of Greater Atlanta.
Good morning, Jay Matthews, City of Atlanta, Department of City Planning, Office of Housing Community Development.
Good morning, Leah LaRue, Grove Park resident. Oh, and I happen to work for the City of Atlanta, Department of City Planning, Director of Neighborhood Planning.
I can't be quite that bubbly. Brian Wismer, City of Atlanta, Department of City Planning, Office Neighbor of Leah.
Good morning, Travis Amsterdam, community organizer with United Way of Greater Atlanta.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith, and I'm a resident of English Avenue.
Good morning, everyone. I am Thelma Renault, and I am a English Avenue resident. And the new people who have just moved into English Avenue, I would love to meet you all. And so please, after the meeting, will you please introduce yourself to me? And I appreciate it. Thank you.
I love you, Thelma. I've known her forever. I'm James Brandon Doyle of Compassionate Access for Everyone. I'm a former Vine City resident, still a stakeholder. You can find us at compassionateaccessforeveryone.org and on Instagram at Compassionate Access for Everyone.
Pamela Flores, Vine City resident.
Mindy Cow, I also work for the City of Atlanta Department of City Planning, and I'm a resident of Adair Park.
Hi, I'm Winifred Thomas Cox. This is my first time attending, so excited to be here. I'm a managing director for Accenture, and I serve on the board of directors of Goodwill of North Georgia.
Hello, my name's Ebony. I live in Vine City, and I have 2 kids at Hollis.
Bob Butler, Co-Web Banker Realty.
Good morning, family. I'm Tillman Ward, President of Community Resources of Atlanta, based in historic Vine City, as you know, equidistantly located between downtown, midtown, and Cottage Town. And like you, we're destined to make a positive difference. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kareem Nelson. I am the Construction Rehabilitation Manager with the Grove Park Foundation.
Somebody, you guys mind asking that? Good. Oh, I can almost.
Good morning, everyone. John Thompson. I'm a local commercial real estate developer and future Grove Park resident. I'm in the process of building now, and so anybody with Atlanta City permits and everything, and so I need y'all to just push everything through for me. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Camille May, Grove Park resident and Spelman College graduate.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of people just walking in, so I'll make my way over there. In the meantime, we would like to thank the whole production team that we got around the perimeter, and also most of the Westside Future Fund team is here helping out as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Fears. I'm with Call Us First Consultancy.
Good morning, I'm Tommy Simon. I'm a third-year MDiv student at Candler School of Theology at Emory.
I'm Alan Bell with Atlanta Resource Foundation.
Bill Bowling, Foodwell Alliance.
Dan Preister, Cox Curry and Associates.
Good morning, Charles Merriweather, Goodwill, but we put people to work.
Good morning, Michael Davis, Atlanta Beltline Partnership.
Good morning, Dr. Leroy Wright, Senior Pastor of First Thessalonian Missionary Baptist Church in front of Cook Park.
Okay, anyone else? Okay.
Good morning, I'm Tanace Watkins, Grove Park Foundation, Director of Economic Development, and also Executive Pastor at Paradise Missionary Baptist Church.
Amen. Who said that? Anybody else? Anybody else? All right.
Hey, Arthur Toll, Howell Station Neighborhood Association President.
Anyone else? Okay, I got a couple of hands. Okay. Excuse my reach, please. Thank you.
Shares Wright with Fifth Third Bank.
Good morning, Kelly Brown Benton. This is one of the first meetings I attended about 10 years ago, and today I am a proud member of the Mayor's Office of Constituent Services, Community Affairs Manager for the Westside.
All right, anyone else? Oh my gosh, okay, Maria. Of course. Hey, you guys, if you don't mind, can you pass that?
Maria Supporter with Supporter Report and Atlanta Way 2.0. Anyone else?
Guys, help me out, please.
Hi there, Chandra Haslam, Bank of America.
Good morning, Ingrid Thompson with Nehemiah Project Community Development Corporation.
Good morning, I'm Keitra Bates from Marty's Shared Kitchen.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys, give yourselves a round of applause. Appreciate you.
So this morning, I have the honor of introducing our moderator for today's discussion. Gavin McGuire currently serves as the Executive Director of the Grove Park Foundation, where he oversees multi-million-dollar investments in housing, economic development, health and wellness, and education on the west side of Atlanta. His leadership has catalyzed significant positive change in these communities. He's a native of New Orleans. My whole family's from there. Love that. New Orleans folks? No? Okay. We'll keep it moving. He's also a proud graduate of Morehouse College, and he embodies the principles of servant leadership, dedicating his career to community building, organizational development, and fostering environments where people can thrive. We know that restoring Atlanta's West Side is an effort that requires collective action. And the mission of both the Grove Park Foundation and Westside Future Fund is to revitalize Atlanta's West Side. So I'm honored to welcome Mr. McGuire to this stage for today.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. It's a great room. Good to see a lot of friends, partners. Also to the Westside Future Fund, thank you for extending this opportunity for this amazing and important topic today. Would be remiss if I didn't recognize my Grove Park Foundation board. So board, great board. Great staff team leaders who are doing the day-to-day work and toiling in the community. So to our staff team, and come on, our staff team, I gotta give it up to our staff team. And then last but certainly not least, the center of our work in Grove Park, our Grove Park residents. So let's give it up for our Grove Park residents who are here. When John graciously reached out and, grateful for the partnership and the work that we're able to do with the Westside Future Fund, and when he reached out to me to say, hey, I'd love you to host the session, and I'd love you to host it with me, but my daughter's graduating from law school, so I said, well, I could forgive you for not being here for that moment, but just really excited about the opportunity. And so the topic, I know, with this group and the way that, we ideate and we talk and, the creative tension of issues that we talk about in the room, wanted to make sure that it was a topic that's really germane to the pulse of the community. So the topic, looking at affordable housing, market rate housing, and how that mixed use developments weave to make a vibrant and healthy community. And there's been a lot of creative tension around that topic, from different areas. I was in a room where we talked about, it was philanthropic leaders, it was community residents, it was developers. And in that room, we talked about the pressures of affordable housing and the pressures of market rate housing. So I said, wouldn't it be great to have a panel with some great leaders to talk about the benefits, as well as just to bring the conversation within the room. So when we were in that room, the room crossed race, social economic status, economic class. It was an interesting room. And so finally, it was several questions that poured out of that room. You know, when people talk about amenities for communities, can that happen with just affordable housing? Do you need market rate housing mixes to bring those amenities and quality of life issues addressed within communities? The second part was, will market rate housing put pressure on low income or residents who are renting, who want to be homeowners? Will that pressure be there? And then from a development end and from the organizations that was in the room, the question was from a funding source. You know, what's the subsidies that's needed to make affordability happen? And so with that, I'm proud of the panelists that I'm going to bring up now to talk about these issues and to talk about affordability and market rate housing within communities. So first, I will bring up Ms. Carmen Chubb. She's the president of Columbia Residential. Let's give her a hand. Next, I'll bring up Mr. Robb Jones and my Morehouse brother from Cityscape Housing, president, founder, leader, guru.
Thank you, sir.
And last but certainly not least, Grove Park resident, great community leader, member of our board of directors, and the board chair of the Atlanta Housing Authority, Larry Stewart. Whoever put that Morehouse thing in my bio, I mean the New Orleans thing in my bio, please take that out. I know it's too close to football season. So just to get the conversation started, you know, we'll go to each of the leaders here, the amazing thought leaders that we have. And just when you hear affordable versus market rate housing, what's the first thoughts that come to mind?
So I will say that, good morning, everybody. I'm currently representing Columbia Residential, but my career has spanned working for the state agency in all phases of housing and then with the city. So I have a perspective of state, city, and now private sector. I think when we talk about affordable housing, when we're in the industry, we know what we mean. And we're very comfortable speaking about it in a way that recognizes it includes incomes as 30%, 50%, 60%, and potentially 80%. But there is a perception of affordable housing when you say it. Some people see that as a code word for what they perceive as the old style affordable housing. So I think we have to be conscious about how we speak about it. And market rate, the same thing. It sounds like something that maybe excludes people who don't have resources or don't have the financial ability to live in that housing. So I think it's very appropriate to think about housing in a holistic way and how we can accommodate a variety of incomes, a range of incomes together, if it's a multifamily community, in that community, but in the broader community as a whole.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Gavin. I just found out that you were from New Orleans, and I assume you're a Saints fan. Let's be truthful. Let's be truthful.
I'm on tape. Go Saints.
Oh, there it is. I want to get him on record. No, I agree with what Carmen just said. I mean, we often talk about affordable and market rate. But at the end of the day, we have a housing supply issue, first and foremost. And then when you think about both types of housing, you have to have them. And we're focused as a business model specifically on mixed income communities. So when you think about what you need in mixed income communities and what you even need from a perspective of developing that community in addition to the peripheral, you have to have market rate housing. A lot of people sometimes demonize it, but when we talk about being all-inclusive and really creating a social cohesion, both types of housing are absolutely necessary in creating mixed income communities. And then, you know, the other thing is we really focused on home ownership. And when you think about, you know, bridging the equity gap, you really are focused now on doing so for all income levels. So, lower income has the same opportunities to be uplifted that higher income households have, and that's just the way it should be. In addition to that, we, really look at the opportunity in creating an environment for inside of mixed income communities for people to, really foster a communication together, living in the same community. They have to be a part of the same HOA. They have to share common amenities. And in doing so, they eventually find common interests. And I think from a human factor, and especially what we're dealing with in today's society, we're going to absolutely have to have more mixed income community that include both market rate and affordable housing.
All right. So I guess when I think about this question first, good morning. What I would say is we need to start dismantling the idea that market rate equals luxury. I think when they talk about like, what are we building? The housing stock that we've built over the last 20 years is not sufficient for every income level. So what you would have thought of as affordable a long time ago, right? You would have thought low income, people who have not attained a particular status in life. And I think what you're finding now is there are people who make $100,000 or $1,000 or more who are struggling to figure out where they can live in a city like Atlanta. And so when that's the case, affordable isn't some low income, hey, these are people who are hourly workers, who may not be working, who are homeless. The perception that affordability is something that is, and that, let me make sure I don't connect low income to some lack of dignity that we should require. We need people of every strata to make a healthy neighborhood. And so when we're talking about those neighborhoods, and I think about market and affordable, I think sometimes we think that that market is equating to some kind of luxury and that it needs to be at a certain standard. Everybody needs a quality housing for them to be able to sustain what builds out a healthy neighborhood. And so, I mean, when I think about the distinction, I think I want to try to dismantle the distinction that we put on affordable versus market.
So y'all, that was just the first question, and y'all see this amazing group. We could probably go for a whole summit with this amazing group of thought leaders. The second question is to the developers, Carmen and to Robb. So just kind of get a little more granular on what's the benefits. So as you're developing and as you're within communities and you're looking at bills, what's the benefits of affordable and market rate? As we got to dismantle and kind of get a better name, Larry. But what are some of the benefits when you're looking at that diverse mixed housing use model?
Well, I'll start by saying Robb and I are going to have a chance to work together. We have a couple of proposals underway to work together with single family and multifamily mixed income housing in a community. So I'm really looking forward to that. When we talk about market rate housing, a lot of times we really mean it's not income restricted. So it is open to individuals that can afford it, but not so much to say it's exclusive. And I agree 100% with Larry. We're not talking about creating luxury versus non-luxury. We're talking about creating cohesive housing. I think the benefits, and I'll harken back to my time growing up in Atlanta, in Southwest Atlanta, where there were times in my household, my mother and father were divorced, 4 children. There were times I didn't even, know how the light bill was going to get paid if I came home and we would have power. But right down the street, we had the president of Morehouse College on Flamingo Drive. We had the chief of police, George Napper, one street over. So I never felt like we didn't have. I always felt like I was in a community where I was supported, and I don't mean supported financially, but supported just from a support system that I could learn from, I could grow from, I can aspire to. And I think that's what's important about mixed income housing. It is giving people an opportunity to experience the range of people that live in our communities and not segregating by income. I think that gives people opportunity, and it gives people cohesiveness in just society.
Yeah, I think in terms of benefits, obviously for affordability, it provides us the ability to provide, a cross-section of housing for a cross-section of the citizens of Atlanta. But when you also think about market rate, another thing that it provides for is the ability to subsidize and create mixed income communities. We often think about the philanthropic community, about the public sector, private sector to be able to subsidize, whether it's a land basis or down payment assistance or whatever it may be. But the other subsidy that comes into mixed income communities are market rate housing. I mean, without it, it creates an inability to provide for affordability. And so, one of the other benefits I think is that it stretches the minds and the creativity of developers to be able to have to think about housing types in order to meet affordability. Because, we're not doing things traditionally anymore because we can't. Can't build single family, 2,000 square foot home on a 50 by 100 lot. Those days are gone. You have to have density. And then you have to think about product type to really focus on missing middle. And we've had to look at and actually, create 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, single family attached homes, multiplexes, just kind of a myriad of different types of housing types to be able to hit affordability and then create them for market rate as well. So I think, today's environment with high interest rates, high construction costs, high land bases, forces developers to think outside of the box and be creative more than they have ever had to be.
So Larry, with the Atlanta Housing Authority, I know a lot of people always look to that agency almost as the go-to when you talk about housing, of course. So when you look at this topic of affordable mixed market rate, what are some of the challenges that you guys face, but also what are some of the innovative, creative things you're doing to address, bringing equity into the work?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know that I would call it challenges from an Atlanta housing perspective. I mean, people come to us because we got land and we got money. Some of that money comes from a lot of different pots. We're fortunate to be a moving to work organization, which means that we can take the subsidy we get from federal government and be able to be creative about how we disperse that, right? So we still make sure that we're providing vouchers both on the property level and for residents to be able to find the housing that they want and deserve. But then also, you will have seen, so as you maybe you don't know, affordable housing started in Atlanta. So Techwood Homes and University Homes, first housing projects for whites was Techwood, for black people was at University Homes. That was what I call 1.0 for affordable housing or public housing. 2.0 was when Renee Glover and Integral Group redeveloped what was Techwood Homes into Centennial Place. And you saw that happened. And so now we're kind of in this era where we're looking at what I would call 3.0, where we need to be making sure that the development, I mean, you guys see the cranes all over this city. This city is being transformed right before our eyes. And what we need to be doing in that space is ensuring that the developments that we're creating create healthy neighborhoods. I think we had always just said, hey, we're just building the thing and people stay in the particular footprint upon which we own it. But we know that has impact long range on whether or not the neighborhoods are healthy and whether or not we're transforming the places, right? That has benefit for everyone, but it also has benefit for us as a landowner, right? Because we don't want the land. I mean, the reason that Techwood and all the homes that we had, they were disinvested in. Those neighborhoods around them became untenable for people to actually say that these are healthy places. And so we destroyed them, right? We took them down and now we're rebuilding them. We don't want to rebuild them again, right? We want to make sure that we're building them in a way that anyone would want to live in them, that retains the value in them, not only for the people that are there, but it retains the value in them for when we want to do something else for them, because we hope that our housing is the housing that actually transforms lives, lifts them up, and that people don't stay in our housing. And I know people sometimes they make that controversial, but I'm hoping that that's a way station for people to be lifted up and to move into their own home ownership, to their own market rate rental, and et cetera. That's what we hope, so that it's not a lottery when you come to Atlanta Housing and say, I got in. No, you should be saying, I'm going to put my time in here. I'm going to be moving out, and so someone else can take advantage of that same opportunity. So, I mean, those are the challenge. I mean, to that is just how do we do it? How quickly do we do it? Where do we deploy our resources to get the maximum benefit? I think those are the types of things that we think about, but it's not unique, right? I mean, every housing authority, everybody in the country, I think, is starting to come around to the point that how we deal with the affordability in our urban core is critical. And so we're just trying to be the leader in that, to be the preeminent. I've said this to my team that I think we need to be the preeminent housing authority in the world, and we need to be able to show people that as we've done it for 1.0, for 2.0, that 3.0 is the next wave of what we want to see, and that we want to be a leader in that.
Thank you, Larry. When you saw the advertisement and the invite for today, we said beyond brick and mortar. And when you look beyond brick and mortar, the most important part of the housing piece is the people. And so, just being mindful that, it's just not units and not just homes, but it's culture, it's people. And so with that, to Robb and to Carmen, when you're developing and you're looking at housing initiatives, how do you assure that the people are in the center, that they have voice, and that they're included in the decision-making process?
You can go first.
Well, I came up in this industry in 1999 after the investment was made in Summer Hill when the Olympics was here. So community engagement had to be a tenet of our organization. And it looked differently then than it is now. Now it's sort of required in procurement. I mean, people speak about it, leadership talks about it from the mayor's office, even into the housing authority, and amongst community groups like this. So, for us, it was when we were building for the Bank of America and the Community Development Corporation, or having to build alongside of Summer Hill CDC with Doug Dean or Young Hughley. I mean, it was something that required you to know people on the block. So, and it was beneficial to us. We would know Miss Bunton at the end of the street, or Mr. Conrad next door. And it forced us, required us to get to know those people, to walk the streets and make sure there was a level of sensitivity to the community. And then they became literally our security force. I mean, Ms. Bunton would tell us what time I work. This is before we could put cameras up and watch our sites. Our camera system and our security system was Ms. Bunton, was Mr. Conrad. They knew what time our workers got there and subs left and who was playing what and who came, who stole something. That was our means of, keeping a watchful eye on our project. And so from there, community engagement just became something for us that had to be done. And the importance of it is that, we build communities inside of communities in the city of Atlanta. So when we're creating a new community, we're typically creating it in a community that has been here for 100 years. And so there's legacy residents, there's new residents, but at the end of the day, none of them deserve to be just recipients of change. Everybody, at minimum, should be, provided an opportunity to speak, to understand what's coming, to have feedback, have input, and be a part of the development process. So a long time, developers and development have pushed people outside of the city of Atlanta because there was no real affordability. And so those days have to change, and we have to double down on, community engagement as we get more dense inside the city of Atlanta. So it's a responsibility that we impose on ourselves before it's imposed on us, because it's a part of community development, and there's no way around it. Now, sometimes community has some outrageous requests, and you have to hear them, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's about making sure that that you actually get a project, and then you have to balance between what these requests are and balance between how you pencil and pen out a project. And so there's some push and pull and some tension, but at the end of the day, it is something you got to be committed to, and you have to, know and understand that these are people, like both people in our community that we're creating and people in the surrounding community that have been there for a significant amount of time, and even if they haven't, they're still a part of the community.
Yeah.
I think of the quote, "Don't be wise in your own eyes." As a developer, you can have an idea, you can think it's great, you can decide that's what you want to do on a particular site, but if you do that, it doesn't respect the community. So I think I would like to give just kudos to the Atlanta system, which celebrated 50 years with the MPU system not too long ago. Leah.
Leah.
But I will say, to Robb's point, that Atlanta requires it, which is good, because sometimes if you don't require something, it won't happen, but it needs to be a part of the DNA in the development process. I think it's really important when you're redeveloping an area, particularly existing housing, which Columbia is doing a lot of in Atlanta. A lot of the work we're doing involves redevelopment of housing that already exists. So there are people living there who, they have pride in their community. They know what they want to see as you redevelop it, and that engagement is critical. But even when you're doing new construction, I agree with Robb. We're building communities within communities. So we'll refer to a development as a community, but it's within a community. And you have to understand the values of that community, what's important to the residents that are there, the people who may fear that what you're doing is going to push them out or not welcome others in. I think the other part of it is that there can be some negative aspects of community engagement in NIMBYism. I talked about my work at the state. What we would do when you do a application for low-income housing tax credits, the state has to notify the jurisdiction where the tax credits are being requested. We would get thousands of letters that were blatant about, I don't want those people in my community. So there's a balance, and you always have to respect the community and the overarching goals of the housing, which is to provide opportunity and access for all income levels.
Cool. Y'all are all looking at what I'm looking at. I have 2 questions and 2 minutes left. So if y'all late for that 10 o'clock appointment, don't blame me. But Larry, when you look at the Housing Authority and the importance of public and private partnerships, because we can't do it alone. I always think of our mayor saying that Atlanta's a group project, which I love. When you look in the room, bankers, developers, community partners, how does the Atlanta Housing Authority leverage that to do the work and the importance of that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll keep it simple. We don't build housing anymore, right? So we need every partner, right? We have land and we have money, but we certainly are not building housing. So we need partners like Robb and like Carmen to really facilitate the work that we're doing. And so it's critical. It's a foundational component of what we do now. I don't know if you guys saw in the Atlanta Voice yesterday where we sent out an announcement about our housing, our new chief housing and real estate officer, Alan Ferguson, who's coming over from, give him a round of applause. He's coming over from Habitat for Humanity. We also have our new COO. We have a whole new C-suite, right? Terry Lee recently became our CEO, and we are in the process of trying to figure out how to accelerate the work, right? We have 8 projects that are in ground right now, but we would need to be at triple that, right? We have that much work that we can put in the pipeline. We certainly couldn't self-develop all of that. So public-private partnerships are critical to the work that we do, and we are committed to ensuring that we create an operation that allows for that to be easy and to remove every barrier that's possible to ensure that we get things out of the ground and lift it up so that we can get people into the housing as soon as possible.
We clearly couldn't have this conversation in 20 minutes to 30 minutes because there's so many things to unpack, but this is just the start of many opportunities that we're going to have to engage community around this topic. With these thought leaders and servant leaders that I have up here, I also want to create the space for questions from the audience. So as we transition and prepare for those questions, they'll be coming around to facilitate that. But just want to thank the panelists for the start of this conversation. Let's give them a hand, y'all. I grew up as a wrestling fan, so also looking into that camera, just wanted to say thank you to those who are online and watching us. I'll be able to get that in my Four Horsemen, like.
Oh, man. I love it.
Right here. She wanted me to look in the camera. On the end, Atlanta Housing?
Larry, yeah.
There's Larry.
Okay, I just wanted to commend your comments. People know I'm very cynical, so I did not pay attention to your name. I apologize.
No worries. I ain't nobody.
Like
Nope.
blah, blah, blah. But I want to say that the way you spoke about things, put it in a way that people could understand and relate to. That affordable housing language is very frustrating because no matter what income level you are, the word affordable means I can do this. Most people with money, they say if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So people with money don't think about that. So I just want us to change that language and then to change the narrative of low-income housing being quality housing.
That's right.
From our standpoint at Constituent Services, people come in and complain about their living arrangements all the time. There's no quality in low-income housing.
So, excuse me, Carmen, to build on that, the quality of Columbia Canopy is fantastic. So there are 110 units in Grove Park that Columbia Residential did. And we're so grateful for the help in this room to get the land as a board member. And from Leonard Murray needs to be recognized because
Yes.
that agreement that took place, it's created a very high quality community within a community, everything you just talked about. So can you give us some of the invisible complexity? When we did the ribbon cutting, it was incredible, the array of complexity it took to get there, just building off of Larry's point. And of course, I wouldn't want you to go into great length. We don't have the time because the complexity is so mind-boggling. But can you give us a little bit more of inside your world, what it takes to execute, and building off of Larry's point?
Well, thank you for your comments about Columbia Canopy. We are working on the phase 2 of that this time, and this is, thank you. And I would say the driver of the success of that community is the Grove Park Foundation, the strong partnership we have both in the people-oriented components, but also working with Gavin and Leonard on putting together the application and getting the support. So there are a lot of people, a lot of segments that you have to satisfy to actually be successful in getting the funding to execute. If you think about Canopy, we were able to do 110 mixed income units 3 years ago. Now with similar funding, we're only able to do 80 units in that same structure, which, to Larry's point, we got to go faster, not slower, but the financial system hasn't caught up to the current cost environment. So we're constantly looking, how can we fill these gaps? We were very pleased and fortunate to get the support of Invest Atlanta and the Community Foundation as we were putting that application together that enabled us to get points under the scoring criteria in the qualified allocation plan so we can get the housing tax credits to, which is really the bedrock of the financing of that development. But there's also the purpose-built community component of Canopy, and we, again, Grove Park Foundation is a purpose-built community partner, so that leverages additional incentives in the qualified allocation plan. So when we're working with purpose-built community, I want you all to know it is not a check the box, and I know Leonard and Gavin will attest to that. There are very high standards to be selected as the project going forward for purpose-built community, a lot of rigor from the purpose-built foundation, which I talk about rigor, community engagement. It's necessary to push forward the standards that we all agree needs to exist in a community. So lots of complexities, but those things work very well when you have a partner like Grove Park and the Community Foundation Invest Atlanta.
Yes, I'm familiar with Columbia. I think Noel, about years ago, in the pattern. You were talking about the partnerships and the legacy resident, new resident, but you used a term that I didn't quite understand. You said NIMBYism. Can you explain what NIMBYism is?
Sure, I'm sorry, I used that acronym. It stands for Not in My Backyard, and it is a concept, even I would say that's broad, where people don't want certain incomes, or people they categorize in a way, they don't want them in their neighborhood. We find, and I'll talk back to my state days, we find that people talk about traffic, where are people gonna shop, the schools are overcrowded. I'm not saying those aren't true things that impact when new development comes, but it can also be a code language for people saying, I don't want those people in my community. So NIMBYism is not in my backyard.
Could you talk about Grove Park as a case or an example of the challenges that we face? I think David Edwards talked on this panel about how in 2008, 2009, after the economic downturn, the larger community had an opportunity to buy, I think it was 90 acres for very little money by comparison of what it is. Then you had Microsoft come and make the big announcement, and that kind of changed the whole equation. Can you talk about some of the greater challenges that communities face in trying to actually have mixed income communities with a good share of affordable housing?
I'll start really quickly. I think it's also not only just looking at putting a burden on the housing side of things, but the economic mobility side of things as well. When we talk about these products and, dignity housing, not just affordable housing, people have to make the wages to be able to obtain. And so that's the pressures that I'm seeing. Cost of living is going up, milk, eggs are going up, but the community having that access, the renters that I'm talking to, I know when I got that bag of keys, and I'm dating myself about my home, but it was $1,000 down. And now, people are talking $20,000 to get to homes. And the wages are not reaching and pacing the cost of living. And so, that's the challenge that I hear day to day. Talking to residents yesterday, it's like non-business owners, how can I get my salary up when I can't go to Morehouse or Georgia Tech tomorrow to get that degree, to get the wages that I need? So, looking at the balance of the conversation, not only just housing, but economic development. Shameless plug to bring us back for the economic development conversation as a panel from Grove Park. But, that's one of the many challenges.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as it relates to income is not keeping up with housing, right? One of the dangers, right? And so I think you highlight, Maria, one of the problems that happens is that we don't move as quickly as market forces move. So as an example, the housing crisis happens. If it ever happened again, we would need to be nimble enough to be able to say we want to acquire as much land as we possibly can to prepare for the future. It's hard to do that when you're in those moments, right? To recognize that, this is a moment and we should take advantage of it the same way that the market does, right? When those things happen, people who have money say, I'll gobble up whatever I can and I'll figure it out on the back end, right? And I think with 2 million people coming to this region in the next 20 years or so, we know that we need to be thinking differently. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. Grove Park is ground central for that kind of work. When you see what happens with Microsoft, one of the downsides of having something like Microsoft happen and then pull out, or what I assume will be pull out, is that they rose all of the prices and the speculation that happened, and now you don't get the benefit of where we're going to bring as amenities to the neighborhood. And so how do we account for that, right? How do we deal with that particular change is something I think Grove Park is working through. I think we're trying to be responsible to that. That includes all of our partners, so that public-private partnership, and using the tools that we have and the investment that's coming, right? There's Bankhead Marta Station is being redeveloped. The Beltline is coming in. There are lots of areas for growth, and how we do that smartly and allow people to come along with us, that it doesn't push people out, I think is top of mind for what we do. I know that Grove Park Foundation is thinking about that, but certainly figuring out how do we get more economic mobility, how do we increase the upskill people so they can make the money that goes with the growth that happens, but then also make sure that there is a housing mix that supports that, right? That we aren't providing a lot of luxury. I mean, I see on my street, there's a lot of dumpsters and a lot of contractors on my street right now, and I don't know that any of the people that are going to be moving into that development are going to be people that have always lived in our neighborhood, and that concerns me.
If you don't mind, I'd like to add like the long-term affordability component of it. When working with Atlanta Housing on land they own and it being redeveloped, there's a ground lease structure and a right of first refusal almost always on those redevelopments, which ensures long-term affordability for that site. So we're not making any more land. We have to make sure that when the Housing Authority is involved in these public-private partnerships, they ensure, and they always do, that there's a long-term affordability component to the land.
And let me just add one little tiny thing, and it will speak to a lot of what we talked about when we're talking about community engagement. We've got to do a better job of communicating to people the value of growth, density, right? I see a lot of times when I'm in meetings and people are against things coming, and the way that you do it, right, the style, all that's in bounds. But there's just no doubt that more housing will push even if you put market rate, right? At every strata, more housing, more density is your friend. It's the friend of releasing some of the price pressures that we look at. And I know a lot of times we don't necessarily educate people on that, so that when we say, hey, these are the things that you actually should be negotiating and fighting against, that it's maybe style, it's maybe the footprint, but it's not the actuality of doing the work. Right? There are lots of people, I know Land Trust, there are, a lot of entities that are trying to come into communities. We're about to do the work over in Bankhead. We're going to redevelop Bowen Homes, right? It's going to be 2,000 units, so home ownership and multifamily. How we do that is going to be catalytic for the western part of the Hollowell corridor. And when we do it, we want to be negotiating how to make the style and the community benefit to that to be catalytic. But we don't want to fight people over the fact that we should be doing it, right? We need as much housing in this area as possible to fight the things that we're talking about here as it relates to affordability in these neighborhoods.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mr. Ward?
Yes. I'd like to commend Grove Park for the... Stand up. I'd like to commend Grove Park for the great work it's doing in the community, within the community. On one of your iconic photographs, you have a photograph of the Grove Park Theater. On the marquee is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner for Sydney 48. Now it's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, breakfast, and brunch. In terms of other neighborhoods that have been revitalized, you mentioned Summerhill, Robb, and you mentioned Reynoldstown with Mr. Hewley. Both of those have transformed, and I want to ask what of your experience that we can carry going forward for good, better, and best practices. If you recall, Summerhill had model cities. And the NPU came out of our neighborhood, Vine City. And one of the reasons you go to the state was that we had a partnership with the state to make sure that when you have your plan, this is why you have a 1, 5, and 15, that what you're doing now relates to what we agreed to in 5 years and in 15. Now with the Beltline, that's a 30-year plan, so you're right, we need to revisit it. But to you, Mr. Robb, what is it that we can take away that's good happening in Summerhill and will be coming to Grove Park, from Castleberry Hill to Hunter Hills?
Yeah, I think that, Summerhill and Reynoldstown and Peoplestown, in its first iteration of development, as well as Old Fourth Ward, began to happen quickly after particularly, when prices started to inflate and people started to understand the real value of those communities. I think the solution is really about coordination and planning and getting ahead of what is to come and understanding the future of Atlanta, the future of in-town development, and really the partnerships that are already in place, ensuring that we're continuing to talk about overlays and continuing to talk about how development and even watershed and stream buffer reform and tree reform impacts development. I think we all have to be good stewards of water and tree canopy, but we also have to understand and know what impact it has on the creation of housing. So I think, just learning from the past and understanding and bringing that forward, I think we have a lot of great leadership across the board in both mayor's office down into public agencies and then into organizations like Amanda Ryan, who we work with as well. And those brain trusts of how you develop responsibly are all brought into a room on a table and determining how we do not, how we learn from lessons of the past and how we create better communities going forward. And I think we have the time to do that. And I think we have the willingness. I think we have the talent. And I think there's a collective understanding and will around, us, the people in this room and beyond, that we have a really good opportunity to make Atlanta even better than it has been in the past.
Yeah, I think, let me just add this one little piece. We need to just follow, they have a Publix over there. They had a whole main street of food and things that did not exist when I used to work over there 15, 20 years ago. So I just would say that those are the types of things that we should be looking at to say, hey, how do we build up this neighborhood in a way that it can now sustain something like that? Because I know everybody in here knows that there's a food desert that we live in this area. And so taking that as maybe one of the things that's a real tangible thing that we want to follow, I think that would be one of the things I would spend time on.
Forgive me for not standing, but I have a very important question. It's in 3 parts. The first question is, speaking of sustainability, how do you spark business investment to encourage businesses to bring jobs so that residents can actually have somewhere to go to work so they can have income to afford this housing? The second part is, how does Grove Park support education so that students can be attractive to companies like Microsoft? And then finally, what do you do to address the cultural and structural factors that inculcate poverty that make affordable housing necessary in the first place?
Whew.
Go ahead, Gavin.
That's
all you. Great questions. So I'll answer the education and the business one together. When you look at what attracts businesses into areas, it's high quality workforce, high quality education system. Through our foundation, working with partners, we raised the money to build Kip Wilson Park Academy, and we also support the Douglas Cluster. And in that work, we do a lot around the out of school time to support kids. So supporting the principals who are doing a great job on the corridor, but during the out of school time, we working with the faith-based institutions, apartment complexes, just leaders in the community for access, awareness, and exposure that our kids need. So STEM and STEAM, sports, working with CJ and Kelly Stewart. I mean, there's so many different entities, Parks and Recs. So just making the collaboration that our kids get those things that they need to be successful in their post-secondary options, whether it's four-year college or vocation. And once again, when we talked about economic mobility, my team's here, Tenacious with our Now program, and just different things that we do with other partners, with Westside Works, with Goodwill, with, just making sure that people have the skills and the certifications and things that they need to make it attractive. It's not a panacea that's done in one day, but from my board, they're pushing day to day for us to answer those questions. And even with KIP, they were on the needs improvements list from the state, and they got off that list in January. And so, but once again, working across the corridor to make sure that, that they're ready when opportunities come, and we have an attractive pipeline for businesses to come.
All right. It's time to wrap up, brother.
Yes, sorry.
Panelists for the discussion. We're going to move on to concluding our time together.
Yeah.
You all can
come on.
Exit
Thank
stage.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin. Appreciate you as always.
Can we get just one more round of applause for today's discussion? Thank you.
Yeah, I think, very quickly, I think Larry said something people are against, like all the gentrification and the growth. No, they are actually vehemently opposed. So like your point of making sure that people understand the value, I don't know, I just really wanted to speak to that. That just kind of really hit home for me. In conclusion, thank you guys for being here again. Thank our panelists again and our moderator. I would like to announce the winner for the gift cards that we mentioned earlier. So everybody get your tickets out, please. So the blue ticket winning number, or you know what, we'll do orange for Home Depot Foundation first. The winning red ticket number is 399-1409. That is the red ticket. Don't be looking at your blue ticket.
Right here.
Okay. It's like the second or third time, right? We'll get a picture later, okay? Congratulations, Kim. And then also for the Goodwill of North Georgia, the winner blue ticket number is 130914. 130914.
Right here.
All right. Appreciate you. We'll come up afterwards, okay? All right. Thank you, guys. We want to invite you to link with us on our social media accounts. And Candace, I think we're done.
We are. Please make sure that you register and join us for next month's summit on June 21st.
All right.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming,
y'all.
everybody.
Good weekend. Thank you, Candace.